to be on Saturdays now sometimes. But is there a way for the caterer to kind of let the seniors know? Because I know the ones that have reached out to me are very concerned that they're going to be without meals. This weekend's coming up. They can't, they won't be able to reach anyone, and that they won't have meals for the following week. And they understand that. So if there was a way, just if you could look into it, that the caterer, or you could let them know they're coming on Saturday instead of Friday, so that, Friday evening, they don't start worrying. We haven't received the meals and maybe they've forgotten about us. And
I could definitely look into it. It's just,
if there was a way that they could
yeah,
just,
it's
meals
a
will be
little
delivered
difficult
Saturday.
though, because sometimes they deliver half of it Friday, and then they deliver the other half of it Saturday. So we would have to really look at their route sheets every week and
Okay.
kind of get feedback from them as to, okay, who did you deliver to for Friday, and who are you going to have to deliver to on Saturday?
Okay.
And once we get, the thing is, once we get that CARES Act, we're going to have 7-day week coverage, and that's going to remedy a lot of this worry that we have, worrying about the meals on the weekends, because technically these meals are from Monday through Friday.
Right.
When the CARES Act funding comes through, it'll be Saturday, Sunday, Monday through Friday, and they won't, I don't think they'll have that worry, as far as coverage for the weekend.
Yes, for that. And
So
I
I
know
think it'll remedy the problem, but I will check with the catering company.
if he could just let them know if they're not going to be there Friday, that they're coming Saturday. So I know the ones that have reached out to me, they're very worried because they say, we don't leave the house. We've never left the house. We don't go to a grocery store. So we're really dependent on these meals, right now. And they just worry. And just knowing that they're Saturday or Sunday or whatever would alleviate that. The other thing is, and I'm bringing this up at the meeting now in case some of the other council people hear about it. I know one of the residents told me, well, first of all, is it 2 meals per person per day, or 1 meal per person per day that they're getting? Like, is a person getting
One.
1
It's
meal?
one
Okay.
meal. It's one meal.
Okay. And there's a couple
Yes,
that,
it's one per day, Monday through Friday.
okay. And something that I heard recently, and I know related to William, one of the couples they get up 2 boxes, one for her and one for him. And when they
Mhm.
compared them, they had noticed that one of the boxes was missing little items like the juices, I guess the puddings and things. So they had been pilfered. It's possible they were pilfered outside of their home, when they're left outside. And that's why if they know they're coming, they can kind of be, okay, Saturday afternoon, be more attentive. But I was just going to ask if anyone else here's something like that, to please let you know, so that that it's an ongoing. It might have been a one-time thing. It was 2 weeks ago. And I told them to please call me immediately if they ever notice that again, um, and they happen to notice it because they could compare one box to the other. So have you gotten any other reports of
Well,
anything
there
like
have
that?
been some, there's definitely. No, I haven't. I did get a report one day from someone saying that their milk was almost out of date when they received it, and I talked to Greater Miami about that. There are some inconsistencies with the supply chain for them. The food is not left on their porch ever. They have to, the driver knocks on their door, and then they're supposed to leave a chair or something outside, and then the driver backs away once the person comes to the door, because they're not allowed to leave things outside because of temperature control issues. So I don't think anybody pilfered their box. I think it was probably on Greater Miami side that they didn't put the juice or whatever was missing in that box. I'll speak to the owner about that today.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
I
you,
just
Cam.
want to say, while we're on this subject, I just want to thank Tammy, the city manager. When we were handing out the meals at the community center, I got the opportunity to meet a veteran, Mr. Kimball, and I called the manager up today, and we got it set up where he's going to get a meal now that he wasn't getting before. And I want to thank the manager and especially Tammy for getting on it right away. He was very appreciative of the meal that he got today, and so he'll be on the list now. And Tammy, I thank you very much for helping me out and helping the veteran out, because he's not very well, but he's going to be able to have a good meal, one good meal a day, and that's really nice for him. So thank you. Okay, manager.
A lot of times the issue what that happens is sometimes people need help and they don't reach out.
Right,
So
right.
when we do hear of something, we're able to address it. So thank you.
Yeah, there's no fault in not that you didn't know about it. The situation is his neighbor takes care of him. Like
Mhm.
it's if it's his father. He takes care of him like a father. And he came to the food distributor. He came to me and he said, you want to do something nice? Bring a meal to Mr. Kendall for today. And I went over there, I met him. And again, it feels good to do something like that. I don't really like to talk about this kind of stuff, but I appreciate the manager and you participating and getting it done right away. So the situation that Miss Mitchell was talking about, these are little nicks and nacks that have to be figured out, and
Right.
we'll figure them out.
Okay. Okay.
Any
We
resident
go on
We'll work
to
on it. And thank you again.
knows of any senior that needs help, please reach out to us. Let us know. So I can get Tammy and I can get the county or whoever I need to get to help them out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think the manager, you can give your response. If there's no other department that needs to be talked to, you can give your response for the
So
virus.
I think, Mayor, since our last meeting, the big news has been the issue of Fairhaven's nursing home. That is a serious issue that came to a head today with the emergency moratorium on admissions that was issued by the state against the nursing home due to problems in the COVID-19 handling of the cases within the facility. But I just wanted to give you a little timeline of what the issue was here. As of the end of April, the state was not putting out information on cases at the nursing homes, either number of cases, deaths at nursing homes, or any of those issues. It took a couple of groups, including the AARP, the press, and some relatives, to put pressure on the state, threaten to file lawsuits unless the state issued this type of information. At the end of April, the state finally issued it, which is when we found out that we had an issue at Fairhaven's of over 100 and something cases. We automatically put it online, and that's when the press became involved. I know Mayor Bain and Councilwoman Mitchell have been in touch with our county commissioner, our state representatives, the administration at Fairhaven's, and we were able to get a lot of things accomplished during that time period, but basically we got attention to the problem, which is what I believe led to today's emergency order, because we've known for a while, we couldn't say anything, but we know for a while that there was an investigation ongoing at the facility, and that was a result of what you saw today. We've also been in touch, I've been in touch with the county mayor's office to try and get some information on what's going on Fairhaven. But we know the state has been on top of it for the last 2 weeks. They're there. They doing the testing. I mean, a week and a half ago, Councilwoman Mitchell, I believe, received an email from a relative who had a family member in the ALF section of the nursing home and told her that her relative, the ALF, is not being tested. They're only testing the people in the nursing home. Well, the problem is most of the staff members, they're up to 38 staff members that are positive now, probably worked in both sections. So we got a hold of them. Councilwoman Mitchell and I reached out to the Department of Health and the state agencies, and I believe last week they sent in National Guard units that were testing everybody at the facility. So that's something that's ongoing, and it led to today's action by the state. And it's my heart goes out to those patients and those relatives. I know if my father or my mother were in there, I'd be upset too. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I don't know if any of you have any other comments on this.
I'll just say it's kind of late in the ball game, like we said a little earlier on when we were talking about that. It looks like it just doesn't look like a good situation of what they were doing there to protect the people that were there. But like everything else in this situation, we got to go ahead and give some time for things to get done right. It's easy to blame, but I think that when I talked to the commissioner, the state and the feds are all in there. So let's let them do their job. And we just could only support their decisions to get it done right.
I think it's also important to point out that that's not a city facility. It's a private, and they're regulated by the state, by the Department of Health and by the Agency for Healthcare Administration. So the city had no say into what testing was done or how they conducted their business within the facility. All we could do is reach out to the different agencies and let them know what was going on and let them take action. And I think that's why we are where we are today.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I tried to get when I was interviewed by the two news outlets, that they kept representing the situation that was a government-run facility and it's a private-run facility. So I try to make sure they express that right on the television, so that it's not misconstrued of what's going on there. And so it's a terrible, it's a kind of a tragedy, but hopefully they'll get it right.
Yeah,
Anything else on that?
One other thing I wanted to point out, if for weeks now, we were reporting the Department of Health showing cases in Miami Springs as being 3, and then they went up to 4. And then when this hit with the nursing home, we approached them and asked them, if you have over 100 cases, how come we're only showing 3 or 4 in Miami Springs? And basically they told us that apparently these cases are reported to the Agency for Healthcare Administration and they're not communicating with the Department of Health. So, it's a total fiasco all the way around. And it's a shame that it had to take this long, because I'm pretty sure this has been going on for a long time, and not just something that's happened in the last 2 weeks. And I'm just upset that it took so long for us to find out about it.
It's especially disconcerting to the fact that when this whole thing started, it started in a nursing home in the state of Washington.
Of course.
Any other reports about the COVID-19, the virus? Anything else? William, anything else?
No, I just wanted to say that finally last week, as you know, the county passed emergency order 22-20, which now requires nursing homes to report to the county their COVID cases and deaths and all that. So hopefully we'll get some numbers from the county soon and see how they match up to what the state is reporting.
Okay. We go to
Mayor, if I may, I just wanted to add one thing to thank William for everything you've been doing and following up with the Fair Havens. I know we've been on the phone a lot, and you've done everything possible for that we could, based on it's a private business and it's a healthcare facility and there's HIPAA regulations and all these other things. It just happens to be in Miami Springs. But hopefully there's going to be a lot of lessons learned from the county and from the state as to what they need to require from these facilities, and we can get more information. But I wanted to just mention, we had gotten some reports of like debris or trash being littered around Fairhaven, sometimes gloves, sometimes face masks and stuff. So I just want to ask the residents, the council, if you notice anything, to please report it to the city, so that code enforcement is making sure that, that at least we can require them to maintain the grounds of the facility, even if we can't go in, that we can require them to maintain the grounds properly. So I want to ask if anyone sees from now on, going forward, littering as far as masks, respirators, or other things, or any kind of too much of a littering, please let us know so that we can make sure, in view of that there's so many COVID-19 positive patients and staff there, it's really important that the littering situation be rectified. Thank you.
anything else, William?
No, that's it, Mayor.
Okay, we're going to go to the request for of the high school,
Yes.
Triana Florio.
Yes. Is Triana online? Erica?
Erica, you mute.
Yeah.
I only see phone numbers. So if Miss Florio
Florio.
could raise her hand or press *9.
There she goes. She
There we
raised her
go.
hand.
There we go. Okay. Okay. Hello?
Good
Yeah, go
evening,
ahead.
everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening, Mayor Bain and council members. This is Artie Vizcaino with Triana Florio and Jill Vizcaino. How are you this evening?
Good.
Well, thank you.
Good.
Doing good.
Good. I'm glad everyone's safe. I'd like to speak real quickly on the meals that you were speaking about, solely because my mother is one of those recipients, and we're all greatly appreciative of it. She receives her meals here at our home. They come in and drop them off in the front on the porch, blow their horn. He actually waits until someone comes out and grabs it. There's 5 meals that they're always frozen. There's also other items in there. So there's enough meals. We haven't had any problems. It's a wonderful program. It's working. We haven't had any issues with anyone taking anything. Very professional and cordial individuals that deliver it. So I can speak from experience that the program is worthwhile and working.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you. Thank you, city members. Triana and a group of her parents and friends are trying to put together this parade. As we all know, this is unprecedented that these seniors, these wonderful kids, and this is not only for Miami Springs high school students, but any high school student that lives in Miami Springs, resides in Miami Springs. So if there's a child that goes to PACE and is a resident of Miami Springs, they're more than welcome to join us. We encourage them to join us. These kids have had so many things taken away from them so abruptly. Their senior proms, their graduations, their grad nights. This is unprecedented. This is, as far as I can remember, no one's ever had to give up these many things. And for a lot of these kids, they're the only prom and only graduation that they're gonna attend ever in their lives. I mean, some of those are gonna pursue careers, and some of those are gonna pursue college degrees, and they may be able to, in fact, attend a graduation ceremony. So we need to make this as special as possible while also making this as safe as possible. There's no one here that takes the safety secondary. It's of the utmost importance to all of us. We're all parents of these children. While we want to make it safe for everyone, we want to make sure that they do have a wonderful experience that can last them a lifetime. Triana has spent countless hours in developing what we've gone through and we've driven. Do you guys have the handouts that Triana provided to y'all? So you can review
What we have, and Erica can put up, is the map that Triana sent me today of the proposed route.
Okay.
Now this, aside from Miami Springs, it also includes VG graduates too, seniors, right?
Yes. Well, that's okay. Just to add into it real quick, Triana and Jill have actually ran into Spencer Dino, of course, the mayor of Virginia Gardens, and they talked to them about what we were planning to do, and he said that whatever we want to do, we have the full support of Virginia Gardens, that they want to be involved and that he would use his police officers by any means necessary to make sure that we drive through Virginia Gardens and include Virginia Garden residents. With that being said, there's also, Triana on her handout put a bunch of rules as far as safety measures, as far as there's to be only one senior per car with one parent driving. Nothing is to be thrown out of the cars. Of course, obey all speeding and traffic rules and regulations. These are some of the other things that we can talk about if need be, but you can see it on the handout that Triana so graciously put together. We came up with a map on different ways. We did two. We actually did two routes because we were asked to do an alternate route, I'm sorry. As you can see, we're going to start at Miami Springs High School, and
Erica, can you put
Yes.
up the map so council can follow it?
Yes, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull it up. The internet is a little slow on my end.
Sure.
How about a little smile, Heidi?
Yeah, you've been that way for a while.
Jeez.
That's all right. We love you just the same, buddy.
That's better.
Erica, do you want me to try sharing on my screen?
Yes, my internet is terribly
Okay.
slow for some reason.
No problem. Give me just a second and I'll do that.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay, you got it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so you have just the route, or do you have the rules and regulations of the parade that Triana put together as well?
Yeah, everything's on there. The map and the
Social distancing regulations?
no,
that's
they
the
have
map.
that in their package already.
Okay. So we'll just go over the route then. So
Right.
when we put this route together, we looked at traffic, we looked at stop signs, so we can have a continuous flow. We want a continuous flow of traffic. So we're meeting at the high school to include into that empty field on the west side of the clay pits. Should we need to use that area? The cars will be lined up and everyone will stay in the cars before the parade is to start. Okay? So we will start there. We will go basically northeast bound on Dove to Ponciana. So on Ponciana, we have one stop sign. We'll be turning right. And the reason I'm bringing up stop signs is so you'll understand that we'll have to have minimal officers at these stop signs. We're not having to stop at a lot of crossroads and cause possible traffic jams. I don't foresee it happening, being that we're all supposed to be staying at home and we're still under this watch. Okay, so we'll go down Ponciana, go onto the circle. On the circle, we will exit the Curtis Parkway exit, go on the east side, of course, that's southbound on Curtis Parkway, to go to Blessed Trinity, the corner of Blessed Trinity, which Spencer has asked us to include. turn right on Blessed Trinity. Of course, no stop signs in between, all the way from, the only stop sign we'll hit is the one right before the circle on Ponciana. That's another stop sign, so that's 2. Curtis Parkway to Blessed Trinity, make a right, go down to north to 62nd Avenue. We'll make a left. That's a stop sign where BG Police Department will be there. We'll then go down 62nd to 38 Carrots, and that'll put us straight through to Ludlam. Ludlam will catch another stop sign. Once we get to Ludlam, we'll turn right, come down to Westward Drive. Westward Drive, of course, make a right. Go down to Shadow. Shadow will make a left. Shadow, I think we have 2 stop signs close to each other. So I think they're a block apart. I think there might be a through street and then another stop sign. So, and then we'll run right into the high school again. Then once we get to the high school, we'd like to make 1 loop around the high school. We'd like to also invite the teachers to attend and be at the high school where they can see these students, their students, go around the high school. Once it stops at the end of the high school, everyone is to disperse, and that's the commencement of the parade. A lot of thought went into this. Of course, safety was absolutely of the utmost importance. Traffic was also heavily considered, because we don't want through traffic. We want our police officers also to be safe. And most important also is that our kids enjoy this, that they have a memorable, once in a lifetime experience. I think that if you think about it, you won't think twice about approving this. I can't see any downfall to this or any reason we should change the route. I think safety has been considered. And that's it. Like I said, these are a great group of children. Not only have they done well in school, our baseball team, of course, that you know, went to state, represented Miami Springs in state. Our girls soccer team, Miami Springs BG soccer team, won state. They represented Miami Springs in the Southeast District Conference, only coming second in Louisiana, only coming second to Tennessee. So we've got every kid is special, and every kid is special regardless of what role they played. And I think we owe it to them. That's it. That's really all I got. Triana, have you got anything?
No, I mean, we can take any questions if you need any clarification. The one thing I did want to mention was as far as the spectators, again, taking social distancing into consideration, the directions on our flyer will be for the spectators to be anywhere along that route in a legal parking spot, watching from inside their cars, you know, beeping their horns or whatever, decorating their cars, but everyone should be following social distancing guidelines, and we're encouraging them to watch from inside their cars.
That's one of the reasons, council members, we decided to use Curtis Parkway as one of the main avenues and westward. Is this allows spectators to park on these medians and be safe within their cars and not impede on traffic.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. We can put put the screens back on. There we go.
Okay, Mayor and Council. I have been talking to them about this for the last couple of weeks, and we looked at different routes and all that. And the only issue we have, and I'll let the chief handle this, is the length of the route is so long that, oh, sorry. The length of the route is so long that it's going to take a lot of manpower to make sure it's a safe event. And so I'll let the chief get into that a little more deeply. I know VG can help us on the VG side, but as far as on the city side, there are so many streets to consider. And plus the fact of enforcing that the spectators will stay in their cars and not get out of their cars to take pictures and avoid social distancing and things of that nature, that it's mainly a manpower issue. So, Chief?
Thank you. First and foremost, let me say that I'm empathetic and sympathetic. My daughter's a senior this year, and she has missed several events. And I apologize, I didn't catch the gentleman's name. Safety is the #1 concern here. We've been talking to Ms. Florio for several days now, Lieutenant Perez. And at first she had mentioned 50 cars, 50 students. And now the gentleman is asking that any student that is a high school senior that lives in Miami Springs, regardless of the school, join in on the parade. Well, we have no way of determining how many cars are going to be involved.
Yeah, if I could just interject right there. What we've done is we've surveyed. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Thank you.
Apologize.
We also have no way of determining how many spectators are going to be involved. And as far as intersections are concerned, if you want a continuous flow of traffic, you have to man and post every intersection along the parade route. And we did a preliminary just with a map today, because we got this information between, I don't know, 10 or 11 o'clock today. And we've been looking at this until the time I've left. So you're talking about 72 intersections throughout the parade route. And at minimum, that would involve 74 officers, because we cannot just put a barricade and walk away from there. Okay, if we're going to be going through a stop sign, you have to not only have a barricade, you have to have an officer there to stop any cross traffic from coming through. We're budgeted for only 45 officers, and we have 43 currently. One is in the academy. So we have officers that will be working the shift, so that leaves them out of the equation because they have to be available to respond for calls for service. Okay, so we don't have the manpower to safely man every intersection. And once we take it on, we buy it. We're liable for the safety of everybody concerned. Okay, the closures will cause some traffic. I've seen an increase in traffic the last several days with people getting the idea that things are going to start opening up. I've seen an increase on my way into work. I've seen an increase in traffic on my way home. I've seen an increase throughout the city. There's more people jogging. There's more people riding bikes. We've had several groups of people that we've had to usher away from the golf course, playing soccer, congregating, and so on and so forth. So that's the #1 priority there. Ingress and egress to several of the businesses in the area would be affected. We would have to close the incoming bridge throughout the time period, just for the overall safety of the participants. So again, safety, you have an increase in people taking part in activities, and we have no way of determining how many actual vehicles are going to be involved. And then how do we enforce? Listen, it's an emotional time. You want to get pictures with your senior. I understand that. My daughter's a senior. How can we stop a parent from coming up to the car or taking the picture? It's, if it doesn't happen, I would be extremely surprised. So those are the concerns as far as manpower, manning intersections. Again, I say you can't just put a barricade and walk away from it. You have to physically man it there to prevent anybody from coming through the parade if you want a continuous flow, and we just don't have the manpower to support this big of an event. If you have any
Chief,
questions, I'll be glad to.
I'll
Chief,
just,
compared to the 4th of July parade that we do,
Yes,
this
sir.
would be what, 2 times, 3 times that?
3+. 4th of July parade, we normally man it with about 20 officers. So I don't know the exact manpower that VG has, but I don't think they have enough manpower to supplement to get to 72 intersections that have to be manned. You also have a command and control situation. Yes,
I'll
sir,
just say, I'll just say one thing. My niece had a drive-through birthday party with 45 cars. We didn't even need the police. We just abided by the laws and went through. I mean, we just went ahead and stopped at the stop signs, went down what we had to do, and we did it. I don't know if there's through streets, in other words, where there's through streets besides the stop signs. And there's through streets where nobody had, when cars are coming, the car at the stop sign has to wait till they pass.
Mayor,
I don't
Mayor,
know.
the issue, one of the issues we have is the incoming bridge. If they're
Yes.
using Royal Poinciana, going to the circle, using Curtis Parkway, those cars coming from the incoming bridge, where would they go? If they go on Canal Street, they can't.
You block it
go to Royal
off, just block it
Poinciana.
off. Put a note and block it off, just like we do for River Cities. It's only going to be for an hour.
Remember, council members, this is going to be a continuous flow. So I don't think that it's even going to take an hour.
Yes, but sir, with all due respects, when you're talking about a continuous flow, if your parade comes to a stop sign, that means they're going to go through the stop sign. And if there's not somebody there
That
to
is
man
correct.
that
That's fine.
intersection, if there's not somebody there to man that intersection, somebody coming through who has the right of way, you can cause an accident. As simple as that. I have to look at the overall safety of everything and everybody involved. And unfortunately, we have to get it right every time. And I have to prepare for those situations.
Okay. Can I speak, please? Okay. The route that I picked is only a limited amount of stop signs. Now, when we have a funeral that comes through the city, how does that work?
We usually have motorcycle officers that escort the funeral parades.
That's it. And there's nobody on cross streets. The police
Well, they block the
officers
cross
stop
streets. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Yeah,
Motorcycle escorts.
Okay, but
block
there's
traffic.
nobody that mans the intersection. It's a continuous flow with the police officers on the motorcycle. Now, we block, like the mayor mentioned, we block the circle not only for River City, we block it for car shows, which I attend several car shows throughout the year. We block it during Christmas. We block it during a chili cook-off. We block it when we have a 5K race. All these things that we've blocked, and without, if I'm not mistaken, without police intervention. Now, you said, police chief, I'm sorry, this is Artie Vizcaino. Can I have your name? So I just want to keep calling you, police chief.
Guzman, Armando Guzman.
Mr. Guzman. You said about the people getting out and taking pictures of their seniors. I don't see where that's a problem anyway. I mean, if someone decides they want to walk down Curtis Parkway and take pictures of anything, they're more than welcome to do so. That's not a law. So that they get out of their cars and take pictures, that they're more than welcome to. There's no way, and I understand you 100%. I'm not arguing with you, but social distancing and being safe has to be up to the individual. You don't have enough police officers in Dade County to stop people from not social distancing. So this has to be from the individual standpoint.
Well,
now,
if I may, I'm not so much concerned with the social distancing. What I am concerned more is with people inadvertently jumping in front of a car. And last year's 4th of July parade is a perfect example where we had to end the parade earlier because of a young lady running in and around the cars, and she fell and her leg was run over by one of the cars.
Understood, officer, Guzman. I was 5 feet from where it happened. Unfortunately, you know, that to me, that was a parent issue. That wasn't a child issue. That was a parent issue. We all have to be smart about how we do things and how we go about things. You're not gonna, and the famous words of my dad, and I hate to say it, is you can't fix stupid. But we have to be smart. We have to be smart, because if not, we can't do anything. Just like when we decide to start opening up these businesses, we have to be smart. I don't see where you need so many police officers. I think that even if we had 50, 70 cars, we're talking about maybe a half-hour procession. If we're all maintaining a speed of 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour, and we can, like the mayor said, we can block off the circle. We can keep people from going over the circles just for a specific amount of time, if that's possible. We're talking about starting this at, Shannon, what'd you say, 6 o'clock?
It's 6 p.m. on a Saturday night in Miami Springs.
So if we can block it from 6 to 8, 6 to 7:30, I think we'll have more than enough time to do this. I want to work. I want to work with everyone on this. I don't want to take this away from the kids. I want to make sure that every reason that we give that we have to change this is a valid one, and we can't find a happy median. I know that the first route proposed was to drive around the high school. To drive around the high school several times. I think that's not acceptable at all. That's
Mayor,
not
I have a
for-
question.
That's not for our kids. And on top of that, we would have a problem that people would be getting out of their cars and taking pictures there just as well.
All right, let me just say, originally, when I talked to Triana, the route that she was offering was starting at the golf course, going up Curtis Parkway north, and then turning and coming down Curtis Parkway. Right?
Correct. So that was the first initial idea that we had. And again, this was through the whole planning process. That's when I started to talk to Officer Perez, which I just want to mention was very nice and really, has been trying to work with us throughout this whole process, as well as Mr. Alonso. Thank you so much for that. But the first problem that he said was that we wanted to stay away from Curtis Parkway because of the COVID-19 outbreak at Fairhaven. So he didn't want to close down the street just in case there were, emergency vehicles coming through. Completely understood. I didn't fully agree, but I completely understood, the rationale. We weren't even thinking of closing down Curtis Parkway. We were thinking of using one lane. So, but we went ahead, and again, we've been brainstorming this for him and I and Mr. Alonso for over a week. Then the idea was to move it to the high school. Now, there's two reasons why we don't want to stick strictly to the high school. Number one is because not all the kids go to that high school. We specifically want it to be a MSVG residence thing where you have kids, from Miami Springs Senior High, but you also have kids that go to charter schools in Doral. They go to private schools all over Miami. And we wanted to include all of the kids in the city. Another reason why we didn't want to do specifically around the high schools, because it would break my heart if there's kids that live in Hialeah and live in other parts of Miami that go to that high school and find out that there was an event at their school and they weren't invited. So that's why we came up with this other route. And again, this was all part of the planning process. Yes, the first idea was up and down Curtis Parkway. The second idea was around the high school. And this is actually our third idea, which I think is even better because it's grown into including VG, because it is, kids that live in VG as well. And, we just want to do whatever's best for the city, the safety, and definitely for the kids, because really they got nothing. They got everything taken from them.
And I agree with you. And you know, we definitely want to do this. But I'm just trying to come up with a happy medium that keeps the police happy and keeps you guys happy. Have you considered Westwood Drive?
We are gonna go down Westward Drive only up to Shadow. So it doesn't impede on any businesses, which if they're open, I'm sure they're not gonna be open at that time. I hope they are. God, I wish everything would open back to normal, but we're not gonna go into Westward Drive because there's really kind of nowhere for anybody to park, and then there is a lot of traffic in that area, so we want to kind of stay away from Westward Drive. Also, we would impede in front of the police department and fire rescue, and we don't want to do that.
Mayor, I have a
A lot
question.
of thought. Believe me, council members and police chief and attendees, a lot of thought went into this. This is something that we did off the hip. We took everything into consideration. Again, I'm going to stress safety of the utmost importance. So we think that we've come up with a good route that can be safe, provide space for our spectators with, again, common sense has to play a major factor in this. It has to. If not, we're going to run into problems no matter what you do, whether
I have a
it's
question.
something for our seniors or a car show or a Halloween bag at the collection at the circle. You know, people have to be smart.
I have a question, Mayor.
Go ahead.
You had a good example earlier about your niece, I believe, that you all did something similar to it. So my question is, why can't just they do this without involving the city?
Gladly.
We can. Who was that? You, Jamie? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Or, please, who was that?
No,
speaking?
no, it's
Jamie?
me. Yes. I guess my
Hey,
question
Jamie,
is for the chief and the city manager.
Okay, my reason to get the police department involved is several different reasons. A, you would have a police escort, and it would be continuous flow, so we don't have so much interruption in traffic. They can close down these 4 stop signs and maintain a constant flow of traffic. I think that we'll stretch this out, and we can lose people, and then there's interruptions in the parade. And we don't want to do that. That's the reason I said we want the city's participation in it. We want their involvement. We need it. I think it's vital that we have it.
You're having a problem. The chief is saying that once we get involved, we're liable for everything that happens in the route parade, on the parade route. So it seems like it's a manpower issue. I'm not sure if we need that, chief. Do we need that many police officers? If they just need a couple of streets blocked off and that's it, or should we
So
just let
it's
them-
not, it's more than a couple of streets. Again,
Okay.
if you want to have a continuous flow of traffic, it's more than a couple of streets.
How many streets are you counting that have stop signs? Because as far as I know, we can go down a street that doesn't have a stop sign.
Well,
There's no limit on how long we can go down the street. There's no law that says we can't go down the street. If we
you're
choose
absolutely
to do this
correct.
on
You're
our
absolutely
own,
correct. There is no law. However, in order to ensure
Okay,
the
so-
safety of everybody involved, you should post
Yes.
somebody there to prevent any cross traffic from coming through.
okay, so you're talking about prevent somebody from running a stop sign. Because the
Or
cross
cutting,
street,
or
the other
cutting
cross
in,
street
or
has a
cutting,
stop sign.
or cutting in through the parade route itself.
Okay, so with something they shouldn't do either.
Exactly. But, and you know, it's like,
Okay.
and I agree with what I think you believe, I believe you mentioned your father said you can't fix stupid. I agree 100%.
Yes.
And I've been doing this for
you're-
40 years and I see stupid all the time, unfortunately.
I'm sure we've all seen our fair share of it. But
But
like I said, cross street traffic. I mean, if someone decides to blow a stop sign because we have the right of way other than those 4 stop signs, it's unfortunate. It's sad and unfortunate that we would have something like this happen. How do we handle, Police Chief, how do we handle when we have a funeral that goes through the city of Miami Springs? Unannounced.
Well, that
That's
is
not
up
even
to,
planned, is it?
no, that is up to the officers escorting the funerals.
So if they decide they want to go down any street, they can, and they can block it as they seem fit.
Well, no, they usually take the most direct route, whether they're going to the church or from the church to the cemetery. So they usually take the most direct route.
Okay, like we're doing it, like we're proposing in this case, the most direct route.
No, this is much larger than
And
anything
please-
that we've been
please
involved
don't-
in here.
Yeah.
All right, listen,
I just,
to go ahead and, I think that, you want to do this on the 23rd
yes, sir.
at 6 PM on the 23rd. Is there any option
Yes.
to do it earlier in the day, like at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, where there might be less traffic going through?
I think it might be more traffic, Mayor, at that time.
Well,
We
I
may
think
have
that,
a problem with some cars breaking down from overheating, if that's even an issue. I think we'll have less traffic in the evening. It'll be cooler for the spectators, cooler heads prevail. I think that may play a part, people waiting in the hot sun.
well, it's my
We
recommendation
don't
right
want-
now.
We don't want,
It's my recommendation right
want the-
now that you're gonna have to sit down with the manager and the chief of police and
Yes.
you can still do it on the 23rd, but you're gonna have to sit down with them and get a more a route that they feel more comfortable with. Although, because I don't know what we're gonna do here tonight to make this kind of decision. There's too much to talk about and too much to go through. I mean, I support your position on doing it. I just need to, I think that the manager and the chief and you and Triana are gonna just have to sit down and go over this for a better opportunity. But I think that as a council, we can approve with the managers and chief's recommendation on how to do it, but, and support it. But I think that's where we're gonna have to go tonight because we're just talking around and you guys are gonna have to sit down and get a map together and sit down and do what the city can do best for you and you can do best for the city.
I understand, Mayor. I just think that we're time is of an essence to try to plan this and put this out on social media. B, like I said, a lot of thought went into this. I think if you really think about this, the route is minimal interference with traffic. I think that this is the route that we feel is the right thing to do, considering what we do in the past for other events. This is even less than that. I would gladly meet with whomever you request I meet with and Triana. However, unfortunately, my stance is going to remain the same. I think this is what we need to do. I don't see any drawback. I don't see any drawback. Is there any possible way that we can have the council vote on this as it stands?
Sure, we can have a vote. I can entertain a motion.
Mayor, may I ask the chief a question?
No. Yes. Yes.
Chief,
Yes, ma'am.
could, I know, and first of all, I want to state that I understand totally that the seniors would like to have this, the parents would like to have this, and, I think we can work something out. I think this is something that's reasonable. However, the route is a concern. Our chief is our chief of police. His responsibility is to oversee these issues and to guide us and make what's a reasonable course to take with everything that we do. So I agree with the mayor that we have to figure out, something that our police, I'm not going to vote for that our chief of police is saying, we shouldn't be doing, but I think that there's some idea that we can reach something, have to be just around the high school a few times there. Chief, I wanted to ask you, the parade route that we use for the
We
4th of July.
won't accept her on the high school fuel time. Our kids deserve more than that.
Okay, and I agree with that, and that's why I said that it has to be more than a few laps around the high school, but my question is.
Okay, I apologize.
The route, the parade route that we normally use for the 4th of July, which goes
Yes.
up Westward Drive, down Curtis and ends at the golf course, and from there they could go to Virginia Gardens. Is that something that's manageable? Because what from you is the length of
You're
the
breaking up,
course
ma'am.
is what
You're breaking up. You keep breaking up.
She asked, is the route that we use for the 4th of July that starts at the Springs Recreational Center and goes
No,
down
it actually
westward?
starts.
It actually starts.
It actually starts at Esplanade.
It starts on
an
Esplanade.
Esplanade.
Oh, it started on it.
And that would be
Okay.
a shorter route for us, because what I'm hearing from you, Chief, is that the length of the course is too long. And
Right, plus
and
one thing, and I apologize for interrupting you, Councilwoman. One thing, and I'm sorry, sir, I still didn't catch your name. I apologize.
Artie.
Yeah,
Artie.
Artie.
One thing he
Yes.
just said, which causes the hair in the back of my neck to rise, is social media. When things get put out on social media, you're gonna see a bunch of people say, I want to participate. And you mentioned, and Ms. Florio mentioned the not going around the school because kids from other neighborhoods. What about those kids that go to Miami Springs and hear it or see it on social media and say, hey, why can't I be part of this too? Are you going to turn them away?
Okay. So here's the thing. It's already on social media as far as surveying the residents. We've created a survey to see, that's where we got our 50. Our number 50 is that 50 parents have responded to that survey. It's been tweeted. It's been on Facebook to see what number we're working with. So that was step one. Let's create a survey and let's see how many cars we're dealing with. So that's already been done. Again, as far as the high school, the district is planning their events. We specifically didn't want to step on the district's toes because they are planning their own thing for their high school seniors. They're planning their virtual graduation and whatever other event that they're planning. This is why we wanted to do it as a residential thing, an MSVG residential thing.
And that's fine. Let's forget the high school or doing it around the high school. I'm just saying, once other students that are seniors get wind of this, are you going to turn them away?
So we already have the people that have signed up. So they had to go through the process of signing up, filling out the survey.
Okay, so you've already got people, you have actually got people signed up to do this. It's not like you're just.
Yeah, exactly. We surveyed.
They're not going to collect.
Exactly.
They're not just going to collect at the high school. You already have a position where right now, that's 50 cars.
Exactly.
Okay, well, it makes a difference.
Yeah, they have to have filled out the survey to be part of to participate. Yeah.
And when is the deadline for filling out that survey?
It was already last week.
So right now you have 50 and you're not accepting any more. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Then I would
How
agree
many
that-
How many stop signs are there in this route?
Billy, from what I count, I'm sorry, Mayor
Mayor,
Bain. I
Yeah.
keep calling you Billy. Mayor.
That's okay.
Mayor Sir Bain. In Miami Springs, we have 4.
4. So Chief, once they
Yes, sir.
pass the stop signs, once they pass the stop signs, there's no reason to have a police officer to go to the other stop sign. And because they're all through streets, you have Poinciana, you have Westward, you have Curtis Parkway are straight shots, and the other 2 or 3 stop signs are going to be taken care of by Virginia Gardens.
That is correct, Mayor.
And just to let you know,
And then if you shut down,
did volunteer to share a few police officers. He just said,
Who?
you know, to let us know how many you guys would need. And he's willing to share his police officers.
I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to, I'll call a vote right now. I mean, I'm willing to call a vote at the route that's being proposed. And if there's only 50 cars, I'm telling you, we did that with 45 cars for my niece's birthday, but we didn't need police. We stopped at the stop signs and went through.
Well, how
And we
long
went-
was your
we did
route,
it.
Mayor? How long was the route?
What, about a mile and a half, 2 miles? From the Bird section all the way down to Westward Drive. I mean, we went down westward, we went all down the circle, and we went all the way down through Curtis Parkway and down through Hunting Lodge. Then we came back a loop around, and then we met at the house, and everybody did social distancing. We gave her a birthday cake and everything. But we didn't need police to do this.
Mayor, if I can add, I did a car show. The second one, I did a car show this past Saturday where I had 25 of my friends with cars, and we posted it on MiamiSprings.com if anybody wanted to come out, and we posted our route so people could just stand outside and enjoy and watch the cars go by. We had 25 cars, and I think it took us probably 10 minutes to drive by people's homes.
Yeah, I saw you.
Do you enjoy it?
It was nice. All the people waving at me, it was nice. Beautiful cars too.
Well, we were actually waving at Grace.
I figured that.
These are just cars, right, that are participating in this? No other type of vehicle?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. No golf carts.
One
All
thing I
cars
wanted-
and all have
I
to
just-
buy.
One thing I just wanted to bring out to mayor and council is that you have to remember that during these times, the police is tied up with enforcing current emergency orders. So their department is strained as it is right now. So I want you to keep that in mind when you consider this.
Okay, so
Well,
are we
absolutely.
saying,
I could go ahead and be at one of the stop signs. I've been directing traffic for these food drives. I could be there to do it. I mean, once that stop sign goes through, they're gone. They're out of there.
So
Then the next
Mayor,
one comes.
Mayor,
I
so
mean-
what you're saying is just leave the police out?
I don't know. I mean.
so
I just
Mayor,
don't-
are
I
you
think that's a
saying
good
that they
idea,
don't
Mayor.
have to have the police, that they should just have it, Councilman Petrolanda's suggestion, that they just have it without the police?
If there's only 50 cars, I don't know, you know, when we did our route, there were some cars that had to stop at a stop sign, let another car go through, but we really stayed pretty much together. But we didn't need the police to do it. We just
So we
did
don't-
it.
So we don't need to vote on this. You're saying just to let them, that they do it without our police
That's up to them.
involvement.
That they brought it to the city to get some help, and I don't know if we're giving them any help. We're just pushing them back. So in my opinion, I don't see any reason why. I do think their timing's wrong, because I think there'll be more traffic at 6 than at 1 or 2, but I just think I think they could do it on their own. Just go through it and hell, I'll post at one of the stop signs to make sure it goes through okay. And they should have their lights on so we know who's part of the parade, who's not. And then the parents can take their positions on where they can park. I would recommend more of them parking to Artie and Triana to park more or less on Curtis Parkway or Poinciana coming through, and let them go through. I don't know if it's so complicated, but I think it's one thing's been said. Once you get the city involved, now you're talking about liabilities. If you're driving on a car on your own, you're on your own. And if you make the mistake, it's your mistake. I don't know. That's my opinion. I think they
Mayor-
can do it. I mean,
Mayor, I
think
think,
this is no different what I've gone through for 18 years. Everything gets so complicated when you bring it into the city to go ahead and have to be responsible for things. Virginia
Mayor-
Gardens is going to take care of Virginia Gardens. No, I don't know. the police officers,
Mayor,
it only, in my opinion, should take 2 police officers. One
Agreed.
alternate stop signs, one at one stop sign, once they go through, the other officers at the other stop sign, once they go through, the other officer goes past them and gets on the other stop sign, they go through. There's only 4 stop signs. I don't
Just
know.
like a funeral.
That's me. That's me. I'm a simpleton.
Mayor, I think if we're gonna use, if we're gonna get the city involved, I'd like to have the chief and the city manager on board with this.
Well, it's up to Triana and the high school if they want the city involved or not. If they do, we're gonna make a vote.
We would, Mayor and council members, I'm sorry that this has gotten so complicated and involved. We thought that it was a simple thing that, like I said, we tried to do a good thing for our kids in our community. I didn't know things were going to get so convoluted and confusing here. I understand we're worried about possible repercussions against the city, but it's sad to me what's happening here. I know we got to be careful, and we're all trying to protect each other, but it is what it is. It's something special for these kids. Let's not make it more than that.
I agree.
We do it for we're doing it for car shows. We're doing it for Halloween. We're doing it for a barbecue, for God's sakes, and a 5K run. How are these things happening? And we're trying to do this for our kids of our community for an hour, and it is so convoluted and confusing. It's beyond me. If need be, we need to speak. If Triana and I need to meet with the police chief and discuss this, by all means, I'm okay with that. But I'm still upset that this is taking so long, and it's become this something that it isn't. You know what I mean? Only reason I've gotten involved with the city is because I think it's a city thing. It's a good thing for the city. I think our officers play a role. Some of these officers may have kids that are seniors that want to be involved here. Police chief, you said that your daughter's a senior.
Yes, she is.
You know, it just, I hope that you felt that you would feel the same way if they were doing something in your respective community where you live. Are you a Miami Springs resident?
No, sir, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay, I would hope that if your child, you try to do something like this for your child, that you would try to push forward. I know that, and I'm not.
And I understand that, but my position is a little different because I have to provide the city my experience and the information they need to make a good decision. And unfortunately, I have to look at all the possibilities. If I wouldn't look at all the possibilities and prepare for them, I'd be neglecting my duties.
No, absolutely, sir. And I'll never ask that of you. And I just think that we're overseeing.
I would like to pass a motion that we this occur on Saturday. I think the time that they're asking for 6 p.m. But that further details be worked out between the parents at the senior center and our chief as
Senior
to
center.
the actual route. I mean, senior center, excuse me, senior high school, and the chief as to the actual route that will
Billy would be the
and
one
let
there.
them agree on something together. But I'm going to say that there's going to have to be some compromise possible in figuring out a route that'll work. But I think we can go ahead and also as far as social media, advertising on social media, I think if you advertise it to anyone, you can say at the time that it'll be and that, you know, the details of where to meet will follow. That doesn't have to be out until, or the route that'll actually take place doesn't have to be out until the day before or something.
Councilwoman,
Agreed.
if I can just summarize
Agreed.
what, Councilwoman, this is Heidi. If I can summarize what you were breaking up on my end, and I don't know if
I'm
it was the same
sorry,
for everyone
I don't know
else.
why I'm breaking up.
It's okay, but I think I can restate your motion. What I understood, the the motion was effectively that you're moving to approve the parade on the date and time stated, May 23rd, I believe it was, at
Yes.
6
That
p.m.
is correct.
But the route and the quantity of vehicles would be subject to approval by the police chief and the city manager.
That they work, that the parents and the chief work together to address the concerns with the drought and, agree on something that's, I agree with the parents that a few laps around the high school is not sufficient, that there should be more. And I understand the chief's concerns of so many intersections, so that they work out something between now and May 23rd as to the actual route. I don't think the actual route has to be posted or available to everyone this far out. You can still say that you're having it at a set time.
But the route would be subject to approval by, the final approval of the route would still lie within the police chief and the manager.
And the manager and the city manager.
Okay.
And what
And
happens if
I
they
think,
don't come to?
I think they understand the intent of working together, but I just wanted to be clear that we're not gonna have I don't think the intent of your motion is to have a parade that is not approved by the police chief or manager. The route, that is.
Well, it depends on what route gets approved. If it's not something we feel is fair to our kids, we're not gonna accept it. We're not gonna accept it.
Why don't you
We'll
give us
do it
a
on our own.
chance? Why don't
Yeah, do it
you
on your
give
own.
us a chance? Triana, yourself, myself, and the chief, we can meet as early as tomorrow if you want. And we can discuss, because I have another option I wanted to run by you of a certain route that may not have any stop signs that might be something that you may consider.
And the alternative is, if you don't have something that's approved by the chief, then you can always do it without the city's help. You can still do this on your own should you decide. But this gives you an option
Okay.
of trying to work with the city to see if we can get the city to help sponsor this, which I hope we can. But alternatively, if there's no solution that you can agree to mutually, then you can still choose to do it on your own.
Okay, so basically, who's gonna have the final say on what route gets approved? Because
What she's proposing is for you to negotiate with the city manager, chiefs of police for the route. And if they approve the route, and you guys agree with the route, you can go ahead and do the situation. Otherwise, you go ahead and not take the approval of the city manager and the chief and do your own route and do it on your own. That's the proposal from Councilwoman Mitchell.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can come to an agreement. Should we talk offline to set up a meeting tomorrow?
Yes, the city manager.
Call the manager tomorrow. 786-219.
Triana has my
Call the manager, set it up tomorrow and with the chief and see what you guys come up with. And if you come up with the route with their approval, fine. If you don't like the route that they perceived for you to do, go ahead and do the parade on your own. And you still have VG's help, but you do your do the route on your own.
Yeah, Billy, but that would be sad. That
I agree. I understand.
We're getting approval of Virginia Gardens Police to work with us and not our own police officers.
I understand, but maybe with if you sit face to face with you, Triana, and the chief and the manager, maybe you could come up with something. But I agree. I understand.
I'm hoping you'll be able to come up with something.
I hope so too.
Okay, so that we go ahead and go like that. I don't think there's a vote to be taken.
I don't think there is either, sir.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. Guzman, what time are you in the office
Thank you.
till? Mr. Guzman?
Hello, I'm sorry? Yes?
Police chief?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what time are you in the office till tomorrow? I don't get off of work till 2:30, so I want to make sure that you're still there. Is 3
I'm usually in the
o'clock,
office. I
reasonable
get in
time?
about 7 and I'm there until about 4.
Okay, and the city manager, may I ask your hours, please?
Whatever time you tell me, I'll be there.
Okay, great, fantastic. Thank you for
Right.
working with us.
Thank you.
All right, congratulations on your graduates, on your seniors. We're really proud of them.
Thank
Hope
you.
everything can be worked out.
Thank you, council members. Thank you, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for trying to work with
Bye-bye.
us on this. We'll make it
Well,
happen.
Well,
All
we
right.
hope it's something will work out. Thank
Yeah, I'm
you.
sure it will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we
All
are,
right. All right, we go on.
Thank you.
we
Good
go
night.
on- Good night.
Good
We
night.
go on to discussion of Memorial Day and 4th of July events.
Excuse me, before we go on, Mayor, I want to ask the city attorney, does council need to vote on this parade issue or not?
Mr. Manager, I think we normally get council approval for special events like parades. I think that's been our course of conduct in the past. I would need to look at the code to make sure.
Yeah,
It may
because it
not
needs,
speak to it.
usually what they approve is street closures, circle closures and things like that for the events. So-
Correct.
Right.
But I think that,
This is in no form to vote on at the moment, though.
I'm sorry, Councilman Best?
This is in no form to vote on at the moment, in my view.
Well, I would defer to our police chief on the traffic
Well,
laws.
he's the reason I'm saying it.
Well, I think that it's on the agenda, and I think that if a vote is needed, then.
All right,
it's
here's
time,
the
but-
motion. Here's the motion that should be set, okay? The motion should be that we will approve this parade if it's sponsored by the city under the city managers and chief's approval.
Provided
Okay, I'd
both,
like to pass that motion. I'd like to
right,
What?
pass.
provided, right, is inclusive in that suggestion that both agree? Councilman Mitchell?
We have,
I
my,
say,
that our
is
city manager,
inclusive in what the mayor suggested? Both of those officers agree, the chief and the manager.
Yeah,
yes, as long.
That's all I
the
needed.
chief
That's all I
manager
needed to know,
represents-
because it's awful loose the way it was presented.
I understand that. The whole thing's awful loose.
That's what I mean, Bill, you know?
But I'm
And-
just trying to go ahead and at least if the attorney feels that we have to give some support to it, if the city
Yep.
is sponsoring it, part of the situation, we go ahead and make the motion that we support what the decision of the chief, the manager and the participants want to do.
if they
And that's all we're
come to-
doing right now. If they can't agree with it, they could do the parade on their own.
Okay, I'm good.
So I need somebody to say, to make that motion or just say as presented or something, because I can't make a motion.
No.
I'll
you
make
can't.
the motion as presented.
Is that good enough for you, Heidi?
Yes, Mayor, I think that's fine. I think
I
I'll
need a
work.
second. I need a second. Second, call the vote.
Second.
Vice Mayor Zapata? I'm sorry. There you go.
She's muted.
There we go.
She
Vice
muted
Mayor?
me. Yes.
Councilman Best?
Aye.
Councilman Mitchell?
Yes,
Councilman Petralanda?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes.
I'd like to ask a question of our attorney. Just a question. If this is approved without the city being involved and something happens, how does that translate in terms of liability to the city?
We're always subject to section 768.28. We have sovereign immunity, so we would have that sort of
Liability.
protection, but there is a potential.
Then the
I-
other thing,
There can't be any potential of having a parade on your own. There can't be. There's been in this city, I don't know if who lives here, but in this city, I've seen at least 5 parades in this city, birthday parties, different things going on without police or the city being involved. They abide by the traffic rules and they do it.
Really,
How would the city
Mayor,
be liable if they did this on their own?
Mayor, I'm only asking the question to be
No,
cautious.
I'm not asking you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the attorney. How can it be liability if they follow the guidelines of the traffic laws and they go through and do it? How is the city liable if it's not sponsored by us?
Mayor,
I need an answer.
I can't say whether or not we would or would not have a suit.
Oh,
There's
come
always
on.
a possibility that someone may sue the city.
You know what
What
we
the
did
result
here.
would be is.
Yeah, what we did here tonight wasn't a very good thing, that's for sure. What we did here tonight, we can't even come up with something that we're talking all, we're all so concerned about different things, and we can't even give our seniors a parade when they can't have a parade, they can't have their prom, they can't have anything, and we can't even agree to give them a little help to have their parade.
Well,
And now
Bill,
we
it's
got to
not-
worry about now we got to worry about liabilities if we're not responsible for the parade.
Well, just a minute.
You
I
know,
don't.
it's
I don't think. I don't
that's
think.
all I got to say about it. Come
Well,
on.
I have some.
Give me a
I
break.
got something to say. Well, Bill, I got something to say about it.
Go ahead.
These people with that intent on doing this, why did we 10 days before get things
You're breaking up
and
too.
do it?
You're breaking
Why
up,
did they
Bob.
wait so late? Why
They've
did they
been
wait
working
so
on.
late?
They've been working on this for 2 weeks before it
Oh,
came
that's a long,
here.
that's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
And now they're running into a roadblock.
Yeah.
So maybe they should have started a month ago. You know?
Well, I
mean,
guess
don't
they're
lay
doing
it on
the
us.
best they're doing the best they can, Bob.
I understand, sir.
All right.
If I may, through the mayor, just one more thing. I'm only saying this, I would like to see the seniors, have something, and it's because I do want them to have it that I'm stating this precaution, to have them have the option, if the attorney feels that that is an option, to say that if the city does not provide them the assistance, that the participants sign some kind of release to the city, that if something happens, they're not holding the city accountable. That's all. I'm only being cautious.
Okay. All right. We go to 4th of July and Memorial Day.
Yes, Mayor and Council. We've been with staff, with Omar and his staff have been thinking about different ideas for Memorial Day, 4th of July, based on the current situation. So I'll let Omar fill you in on what we have planned for both events and see if council goes along with those ideas or has any other recommendations. Omar?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For Memorial Day, we kind of came up with a simple plan. Usually we have tents, chairs, podium, microphone, etc. Where we have a lot of people sitting next to each other. Unfortunately, due to the circumstances that we obviously know we're in, we decided to still have a Memorial Day event with your approval, where we'll have the wreath on display like we usually do. We're gonna have a poster, a really nice poster made that stipulates exactly what Memorial Day is. We have a staff member on site with a cooler with water, just in case we have anybody that's waiting in line to pay their respects, that they have water in case it's pretty hot. And then we're gonna have a tent with American flags where they could grab their own flags and do their have some type of ceremony for the memorial. We do have some ideas that we're considering, but at the same time, we're not like we can't have it where it's totally like off base, like we've had in the past where people are sitting there and it's a big crowd of people. So we're gonna have cones that identify the 6 feet of social distancing, and we're gonna try to do our best to make sure everybody stays within that. And then we just try to have an event, and we're trying to think between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. is the time frame we're looking at.
And one other thing, in order to keep up with tradition, we wanted to do a pre-recorded introduction by Councilman Best, who does all of these Memorial Day events every year. And what we'll do is we'll pre-record his message, and we'll have a TV screen, the memorial, which will be running his message on a loop. As people
Correct.
walk by, they can hear his message.
That's one of the other ideas we had. The 4th of July is a little different. Memorial Day weekend, when we talked about the ideas, honestly, we felt we could do it like that. We felt it was, obviously not exactly what we'd probably like to have, but under the circumstances, we figured that's the best we could do, and it's not that hard and not that difficult. With the 4th of July, it's tricky. The reality is that obviously our city is, our residents, most of them go to the golf course. Some of them tailgate on Curtis Parkway and they walk over. It's a great event. It's a great environment. I actually live in the city, and it's one of the coolest things of my favorite day of the year, to be honest with you, is 4th of July. Even though I got to work from like 6 in the morning, but it's also a great day. But we know that right now, the way social distancing is, we cannot have that type of environment that we have on the golf course. So what we're thinking about doing is, obviously, we would like to still have fireworks, because I've polled about 40 residents, and I'd say 75% of them can actually see it from their house somehow, or they know someone in the city that they can go to their house. So that kind of gives us a pretty amount of people that we're covering. So I'd still want to propose to do the fireworks regardless of the situation, and but not have anybody at the golf course, on Curtis, or anywhere where we'd put ourselves in a bad predicament, where media could see us, people hanging out, not social distancing, etc. And we also want to offer where we're going to live stream it somehow on YouTube, on Instagram Live. We're looking at some people from media that could have some decent cameras, like that's going to look really nice. We're talking about possibly using the roof of the golf course to be able to show that live. So if we have a resident that can't see it from their home or a friend's home, they could go online and see it from YouTube, and at least they'll get that experience. Honestly, like, I think we all could admit this is probably really terrible across the board. I'm sure we would love to be back to where we had the 4th for the past 100 years, but this is where we're at. A lot of cities are still on the fence for 4th of July. I've had some cities tell me that they've canceled. I've had some cities tell me that they're moving their 4th of July show to New Year's. So they're going to have the fireworks not on the 4th. They're going to move it to New Year's. And we've had some people just outright completely cancel it. So that's kind of what our proposal is. We're also not going to do our parade. We don't think that we will have enough bodies to create social distancing, because our parade is, we all know it's pretty chaotic. So we were like, let's just do the fireworks. At least we can get people to enjoy that. But the other thing is, it's July 4th. We're still roughly, 7 weeks away. Things could change. So we do have plans in place just in case we could have people on the golf course, obviously with the approval of police department and the manager. We have some ideas. If we get that opportunity, at least we can execute them if needed.
All right. Okay, I think that the memorial situation is close enough to I guess that's what we'll have to do, but we got another meeting before the 4th of July. Maybe some things might change where we can have people to come to the golf course and watch it by July 4th. But we'll go with your proposals for right now to see if there's any changes, we'll change it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we go to city manager, anything?
Yes, Erica, do you have an email from Tom Curtis that he wanted you to read into the record?
Okay, this is a message from Tom Curtis. This is Tom Curtis, 45 Curtis Parkway, the publisher of the River Cities Gazette. I just wanted to inform the council and all the Miami Springs residents that the Gazette is back, and the big issue for the month of May will be published just after Memorial Day. It will include coverage of the May 26th Miami Springs Council meeting, the city news pages from Miami Springs, Medley, and Virginia Gardens, and all the latest coronavirus news from the community. The end of the email.
And since we have Tom Curtis on the docket right now, I've been working with the manager, and we gave him the money for River Cities, and somehow he didn't have River Cities. So I want, before we come to the next council meeting, he has to come up with what he spent that money on, and if he had, and show us where that money was spent, and whatever he hasn't spent, to give it back to the city. We gave him what, 14 or 15,000, manager?
14,000 is what was. budgeted.
$14,000, and he didn't have the event. So, I want the city, I would like to make sure that by the next council meeting, we have a report from him of what he spent the money on, because he didn't have to pay for police. He didn't have to pay for public works. He didn't have to pay, maybe he has some different things he had to give as far as keeping the rides and everything like that. But that money should come back to us. That money's not free and clear. That money should come back to us, because he shouldn't have spent it all. And and if he has, he's got to show us what he spent it on.
And back on April 9th, I sent him an email requesting, talking about the return of the money, and he said he has spent it as seed money. So I asked him for canceled checks and invoices of what he used the money for. That was back on April 9th. And as of today, I haven't received anything from him.
So I want to put that on the agenda for next council meeting. We'll get a report from him and understand where this money went. I got another thing too. The food that we handed out on at the recreation center, with the participation of the 4 or 5 clubs that were there. I think it was Optimus, you had Rotary, you had the Girl Scouts, you had Virginia Gardens, you had Miami Springs, you had the councilman putting the food in the Councilman Best and Councilman Petrolanga and Councilwoman Zapata giving out masks, although she wore one herself, but giving out masks. It was a really nice event. Well, while we're there, I was talking to the mayor of Virginia Gardens, and we find out that the Optimus Club spent an extra $1,000, which I don't understand why they don't ask. If they're asking for 1,000, why didn't they ask for 1,500? So the mayor, I told the mayor, I'm going to propose to our council to cover 500 from us and 500 from him, from the city of Virginia Gardens, to reimburse the Optimus Club of that extra 1,000 they spent. And I'm looking for you, council people, to go ahead and support it and reissue them a check for $500 as the village of Virginia Gardens is. So I'd like to, if somebody would give me a motion. You're muted, Bobby.
I'll make the motion, Mayor, to give the additional cost to the Optimus Club.
I'll second it.
Call a vote, please.
Vice Mayor Zapata,
Yes.
Councilman Best,
Am I muted?
Not anymore.
Wait, no, I was muted. Wait a minute. I made the motion and then I was muted and now I'm asked to vote on it.
Yeah.
Weird. Or yes, I said aye.
okay, Councilwoman Mitchell,
Yes.
Councilman Petralanda,
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. All right. That's all I have to say about everything. The city manager, anything else from you?
No, sir.
City
No,
attorney,
sir.
anything from this?
Just one thing, Mayor.
You just said no, sir.
No, I just thought of something. Heidi reminded me of that. Heidi, do you want to talk about the new order that may be coming down?
Sure. So the county is expected to issue a new order on interior spaces. We were expecting it over the weekend or today, but on a city manager's call earlier today with the county advised that they would likely be issuing drafts of the order to the cities through the Dade League of Cities for input. So that's expected to be taking place, I believe, this week. The intent is that interior spaces such as restaurants would be opening on May 18th. However, we have not seen a draft. So like we did with the golfs and parks and outdoor spaces, we'd like to get an idea or have the council start thinking about what it is that, whether you would like to be more restrictive than the county. In other words, if the county issues an order opening these interior spaces, does the council wish to continue to follow the city's lead, the county's lead, I'm sorry, or do you wish to take more restrictive measures in any sense? So you don't need to let us know right now, but if you have any thoughts on that, you can either let us know right now, or you can just email the city manager and we can provide that feedback to the League of Cities when we get those orders, the drafts.
All right. City Council, anything from City Council? I'll go with Mata first. Mata Zapata,
Yes, I just,
Councilwoman Zapata.
thank you, Mayor.
I'm sorry.
I would like to make a recommendation that the city be in contact with the Rotary Club. I believe, Mayor, that it was mentioned to you at the food distribution. They're concerned about the amount of people that are all over the city with their dogs, and the fact that the doggy station things that they have, that the Rotary sponsored, are out of bags. The possibility of the city pitching in to assist with that. So someone contacts them.
Okay. I guess you want the manager to go out, the manager to reach out to them and see what we could do
Yeah,
with that?
They had shared with me the amount of how much it cost them, and if the city for the time being can maybe even explore supplementing that, so that the city cooperates and joins with them to make sure that they're kept up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, okay. Councilman Best?
No, Willie, good luck, you and Armando there with that parade thing. You got your hands full on that one. That's a lot.
Thank you.
That's a lot to
I'm
swallow.
sure we'll come up with something.
Here you go. Nothing else, Mayor. Thanks very much.
Councilwoman Mitchell?
Thank you, Mayor. No, I just wanted to thank all the residents, of course, thank all the staff for everything they're doing, but to thank our residents too, because for your patience. This is, I'm really amazed at how well our community, is abiding by the regulations, the laws, the restrictions that are placed upon us. I know it's really tough for all of us, and just thank you for your patience and understanding.
Councilman Petrolaga?
Yes, I'd like to thank everyone that would, like you said, all the clubs that participated on Saturday's food drive. I think it turned out well. We had we fed about 1,000 people on Saturday. It's a great thing. But I also want to thank some folks from Virginia Gardens. As you know, they provided some of the hams and foods that we gave out. That will be the Vice Mayor Ayala and Councilwoman Stefano. She owns she's part of a organization that feeds the poor. So they were able to donate some food for our residents here on Saturday. And finally, Mayor, I want to congratulate Juan. I think he just had a baby, right, Erica?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So I want to congratulate him and his wife and his family for I guess such a wonderful gift.
There
That's
you
all
go.
I have, Mayor.
Okay, this,
Mayor,
I hope the next, go ahead.
before we go, Councilwoman Zapata, Tom Nash just told me that we did get bags in today and that most of the stations have already been refilled,
Okay, great.
the doggy stations.
Thank
I'm
you.
so happy for that too. I'm so happy for that too. I might go get a few bags myself, for me. But anyway, thank you. I hope next meeting we can meet. Is it a possibility we can meet instead of doing this virtual stuff? I hope that we can, and I hope that we think about the 4th of July. Maybe the parade might not be something that could be done, but by 4th of July, maybe they'll have some treatments and different things for this virus that we could start getting to work and start living a life. But the situation we had at the community center, there were cars lined up, even though we were supposed to start at 11 o'clock. There were cars lined up to get food around 8:30. We had about 30 or 40 cars loaded up there. But we thank all the people that participated and the young people too, that from the Girl Scouts, they were really cute and they did a great job. But this meeting's adjourned.
Time we have about this team is